Yo, welcome back to more Mansa, man. This is your boy Mansa. We bike again with another reaction video, guys. Look, man. So we are now reacting to what Akon was talking about when he said one of the most poorest places in the South Africa are the white, like, slum areas, I guess is what you want to call it. So we're gonna go ahead and check this video out together, because I've never seen any type of poor white people in South Africa. So this is a first. I'm educating myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm educating myself right now. I'm gonna check this video out. Because maybe I just need to be educated. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here feeling like I never said Akon was wrong. I never said he was wrong. I just felt like he was wrong. I just felt like he was wrong, y'all. So I had to do my own research. I'm gonna check myself. Okay, I'm gonna check this out myself. And I am going to react to white slums in South Africa. What you know and what you don't know. Because I know nothing. So I'm gonna check out this video so I will know something. You feel me? Y'all new here, so I like the video. If y'all here to learn with me, let's get it, man. Put away your cell phones and your calculators and your well, bring out your calculators. You might need those. But put away your cell phones, not your laptops if you're on your laptop, but put away anything that might distract you, you know what I'm saying? Because we're here to learn, you know what I'm saying? We're here to get educated. Get right into it.
Every community, every country, and possibly every person in the past has gone through a phase of pain and struggle. Be it the Holocaust in Germany or the treatment meted out to indigenous people in Canada and rest of the world. The colonial past of Europe or the world wars. The Cold War or the India-Pakistan separation. There are many wounds of the past that many communities and most countries live with every day. If present is judged by the lenses of the past, we will have a world full of countries not talking to each other and countries full of communities hating each other. One such blot on the humankind is the period of apartheid in South Africa, where people of color were treated with hatred, contempt, and unadulterated racism. But what is happening in South Africa now is equally shameful. Hi and welcome. This is TFI Global.
Shout out TFI Global. Don't strike me down.
Of the TFI Media
Link to this video is in the description. You know what I'm saying? Don't strike me down, mister.
I will tell you about the reverse.
Let me know if you want me to take it down. I'll take it down.
That has turned the white community into an impoverished community of slum dwellers. Let's begin. Poverty in South Africa is rife. People in South Africa are struggling to make ends meet. However, the white population in South Africa is now subject to abject poverty. White South Africans are dwelling in slums with no access to electricity, food, or even drinking water, and are the target of systemic racism. The white population is the target of hatred and revenge for the years of apartheid rule in South Africa.
Hold on. Before we go on, let me just make sure I got this right for what I just heard. Correct me if I'm wrong. So basically, they're living this way because of what happened in apartheid. They don't agree with sharing space with the blacks and coloreds, so they decided to move out on their own. Where the research, I don't know, bro. Hold on, let me.
After the National Party gained power, the all-white government immediately began enforcing its white supremacist policies of racial segregation. This came to be known as the apartheid rule in South Africa. Yeah. For almost 40 years, the minority white government suppressed the black population in numerous ways, such as by not allowing them to avail better jobs and opportunities which were reserved only for the whites, and even restricted them from owning property. After almost 40 years of racial segregation, apartheid finally ended in South Africa as Nelson Mandela-led African National Congress formed the government in 1994 with the promise of an inclusive rainbow society. However, the promise was never fulfilled as the ANC started implementing policies favoring blacks to an alarming extent. Affirmative action to empower blacks came at the cost of whites. Pro-black affirmative action became part of the post-apartheid reconstruction in South Africa as a remedial strategy to address the legal and historical exclusion of the black majority. Affirmative action was a policy for black empowerment, the term used to assure that previously oppressed blacks achieved higher levels of economic, educational, cultural, and political accomplishment. A variety of affirmative action measures were implemented to address concerns such as employment, income, poverty, education, and the lack of equal educational opportunity. This led to targeted segregation of the white population and it restricted educated and deserving whites from availing better job opportunities. The affirmative actions undertaken by the communist government have since intensified. In 2019, the South African parliament began discussing constitutional reforms that would permit.
Hold on. I'm trying to understand what's being said here. So basically, when Mandela took office, there were changes to where, like, the black people were.
And the lack of equal education.
Hold on, y'all.
This led to targeted segregation of the white population and it restricted education.
So basically what they're saying is black people were getting like better treatment than the white people is what he's saying, right? And it created segregation against the white people, so the white people
and deserving whites from availing better job opportunities. The affirmative actions undertaken by the communist government
it kept white people from getting deserving opportunities, what he's saying, right?
In 2019, the South African parliament began discussing constitutional reforms that would permit the uncompensated seizure of private land. At the time, US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo had noted that land distribution without compensation would be disastrous for South Africa and its people. The communist government did not implement policies for the propagation of a modern, vibrant society, but instead implemented its own brand of extreme Robin Hood policies. This eventually led to the emergence of a relatively unknown and uncommon term in South Africa, white poverty. In the new age South Africa, where societies irrespective of their race were bound to succeed, instead, abject poverty has decimated the population. White slums have emerged all over the country as the white population is being targeted by the government. A portion of South Africa's white population, like many of the country's black township residents, lives in poverty. DW journalist Certain Sanderson of Munsierville states that they are dealing with the same issues. Since the country declared statutory equality in 1994, the living conditions of many South Africans have not improved. According to Lee du Preez, creator of the South African Family Relief Project, SAFRP programs aimed at redressing decades of enforced inequality have failed to achieve their goals. She is not, however, referring to black families. According to du Preez, as racial tensions rise, an increasing number of white individuals have been left jobless and hungry. Du Preez said, "We're losing our jobs because of the color of our skin, because we are white. Families in South Africa's white squatter colonies, where there is little food, running water, and no electricity, live in shanties with rusted cars, ditches, and pools of filth and stagnant water with mosquitoes swarming." Over 2 decades, the number of poor whites has steadily increased. Over 400,000 white South Africans are estimated to be impoverished. The country's
400,000 out of 50 million. I wonder how many percentage of the 50 million is white.
Population to be around 50 million people. Those living in squalor are forced to make ends meet on roughly 28.99 pounds each month. There are 80 squatter camps in South Africa, including one in Munsierville near Johannesburg. It houses roughly 300 people, a quarter of whom are children, and is built on the site of an old dumping ground. There is no electricity, only a few standpipes for running water, no secure shelters and limited food. Houses are usually built on bare dirt floors, but floods frequently wash away the topsoil, exposing decades-old garbage. Hospitals refuse to treat camp members, and job interviews with potential employers are frequently turned down. Henrik, a 49-year-old white man living in one of the...
Okay, I'm not trying to sound this way, but like, this is really just what I've been thinking about, guys. This is just what I'm thinking about. It's like when we see white people living in poverty, it's like, oh my gosh, like this is so wrong. Not that anybody should live in poverty, right? Nobody should live in poverty. But that's just the way it is. Like, people live in poverty. But it's like, when black people, I feel like it just sounds like to me, when black people live in poverty, everything, like, it's just normal. Like, it's a regular thing. It's fine. It's not fine, but it's just like a regular thing. Like, black people living in poverty. But when we're talking about white people living in poverty, it's like, oh my gosh, white people are living in poverty. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's just kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this whole thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Is that how I feel? Do I feel that way? Like, oh my gosh, like I don't know. It's almost like this video is trying to say that it is wrong for white people to be living in poverty. That's just kind of how I feel. Which it is. Like nobody, not nobody should live in poverty. But this video is explaining like, oh my gosh, white people are living in poverty. Like the world is like, oh my goodness. But black people have been like, I don't know. I don't know. I know what I'm thinking, but I'm not sure if I'm explaining it correctly.
slums says his life is over. Narrating his ordeal to Daily Mail, Henrik said, I'm 49 years old and I'm too old to get a job. I apply, and as soon as they see my age, they say, sorry, you're too old. I do what I can to survive, collecting scrap metal.
Says his life is over now. He lives in an epic camp. He said, I'm 49 years old or I'm too old to get a job. 49 is not old? I applied, and as soon as they see my age, they say, sorry, you're too. What are you applying to do? I do what I can to survive, collecting scratch metals or selling second. What are you applying to do is the thing. Because look, 49 is not too old to be.
Or selling second clothes,
You feel
but
me?
it is barely enough. Eri, 56, is another resident at the camp. She said, if you go to the hospital and say you are from Munsivell, they won't help you. You will wait until the morning breaks and then maybe they will help you. They are prejudiced against us. Many young whites who dwell in these
What did the rest of it say? Everyone stands together and tries to help each other as much as they can. If you can help someone in any way, you try. Do it. That's the best thing about living here. It makes it bearable. It's like living with your family staying. But I'm sure. But the thing is, they're saying it this way. But I'm sure there's other places where there's, black slums where like hospitals are not gonna take them just because like, and it's not because they're white. I think it's because they know that they don't have. It is sad to say, but they know that they're not gonna be able to afford the medical. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're not gonna be able to afford it. That's what I'm thinking. I might be wrong, but that's just what I'm thinking. Like, I don't know, man.
Many young whites who dwell in these colonies are refused jobs because of where they are from. They are being discriminated against for crimes that took place before they were even born. The shambolic policies of the government have left the country with no employment, and many black or white are left destitute and hungry. However, the whites now occupy the lowest of the low ranks in the South African society. The shortage of food has emanated in the country as lands are being snatched from white farmers and given to the section of the population with no prerequisite knowledge of farming. Besides, white farmers have also been targeted by the black population, who still view them as oppressors. From April 2019-2020, according to official police statistics, 49 white farmers were killed in the country. While the crime rate in the country has been sky high, racially motivated attacks have been a sore statistic. During the same period, 21,000 murders were reported in the country. In 2018, Australia announced that it is considering visas for white farmers who are being targeted in South Africa. At the time, Home Affairs Minister Peter Dutton said he was exploring South Africa's white farmers' access to fast-track visas on humanitarian grounds. The suggestion was made amid calls to transfer land ownership from white to black farmers in South Africa and fears over the number of farm killings. Reverse racism has been rampant and has ravaged the white population in the
Reverse
country.
racism.
Targeted policies of the government has pushed the country to a near apartheid-like
way.
situation, and the continued regressive policies have pushed South Africa into an era of subjugation of the people. Once again, South Africa is going down, and its government's racial policies are
Reverse apartheid. Reverse racism. I don't know, man. I don't know about this video. I just feel like it's making it seem like South Africa is just against white people. And I visited South Africa. It's just, I know I probably didn't see all of South Africa, but I didn't get that vibe. Most of the white people I've seen were living great. You know what I'm saying? Living good. I feel like it's not a white people versus black people thing. I think it's more of people in general, whites, black, coloreds, blacks, who are living in the slums, who don't have the resources versus everybody. You know what I'm saying? I think it's more of that. But this video is making it seem like kind of what I was explaining earlier. It's like it's making it seem like white people shouldn't be living in poverty. Like, there's no way that any type of white person should be living in poverty, but it's okay for a black person, because I've seen so many black people living in poverty. You know what I mean? I've seen so many, and I feel like that it's done made a norm now that black people is living in poverty. That when we see white people living in poverty, it is like something, like it is wrong, like it's completely wrong. Like, oh my gosh, which I believe nobody should have to live in poverty, but it's just how the world is. People live in poverty, okay? People live in poverty, and I feel like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that my opinions are correct or anything. I just feel like this is a poverty versus whatever, like blacks, colors, and whites. Poverty versus the rest. You know what I mean? And that's just how I feel. I don't feel like this is South Africa discriminating or going against white people. Like, I just don't feel that way. Like the hospital example, I just feel like anybody who lives in the slum, anybody who lives in poverty can be denied at the hospital because they know that they don't have the money, the funds to be able to afford whatever they need at the like it just it is what it is. Like, I feel like they made it such a big thing because it's a white person being denied at the hospital. It's like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, bro, this is crazy. I don't know, man. I don't know. Everything in this video is just opinionated. Everything that I've said is just opinionated, man. I'm not saying I'm correct because, you know what I'm saying, I'm not in their shoes. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go to the hospital with them. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Everything I'm saying is opinionated. What are y'all opinions on this, man? Comment down below y'all thoughts. Hope you guys enjoy my reaction. Comment, this special like, so much, man. Say too much, man.